Hello and welcome to the Arise interview, where we take time to reflect on the big stories from the news and on the fortunes and affairs of the world in an hour of conversation with commentators, analysts and thought leaders. I'm Charles Aniagolu. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, he says he's a reformer and a change agent, and he intends to be intensely involved in Nigerian politics. To this effect, Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, author, columnist, activist, former chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, and current member of this country's Presidential Advisory Committee, has announced his bid for the presidency in 2023. But what's the likelihood that his battle for the nomination to run for office will be successful? Never mind whether he's actually going to win if he gets the chance to run. My guest today, Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, coming up. Now, as the 2023 Nigerian general elections slowly draw ever closer, the field of presidential aspirants is growing ever larger. The latest to throw his hat into the ring, to use a cliche, is the author, newspaper columnist, activist, current president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, and member of the country's Presidential Advisory Committee, Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, who's also a former chairman of the respected think tank, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. Announcing his bid for the presidency in 2023, Mazi Sam said he wanted to correct the deteriorating condition of living in Nigeria, and the only way to do this would be to provide leadership for Nigerians at the highest level. Well, we're going to get a clip from Mazi Ohuabunwa there, but I'm told that it's on its way, and in the course of our chat with him over the next 60 minutes, we will refer to that clip and let you hear it when it comes. But let's hear from the man himself now, Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, who joins me in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
It's good to see you again.
And
you're looking well.
Well, you're looking pretty well yourself.
Thank you.
I suppose the elections are still 2 years away, so you haven't started losing your hair quite yet. But let's start with the obvious question. Why do you want to run for president of Nigeria in 2023?
The simple reason is that looking at where we have come over the last 60 years, we had hoped that our country will become a more globally competitive state that can compete with the best in the world. We had hoped that there would be increased prosperity and greater peace and unity in the country. But we've waited and watched, and we saw things going in the opposite direction. And despite all that we have done through the years in trying to provide support to government, through advocacy, through writing and speaking and all that, it's become clear that maybe we need to get upfront and get involved because it seems like as if we're asking to do what is impossible, and I want to be able to present myself to be able to implement those things I believe are possible because we had Vision 2010, 2020, all the recommendations, all the strategic recommendations we've done. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group, every year we have summit. We do a whole plethora of suggestions and recommendations, and hardly much is implemented. Those that are implemented half-heartedly, in default, and suboptimally. And I've had to deal with this. I've had to go through pain and grief over many years of being involved in an effort to get our country better. And I came to the conclusion that the best is to show up and be able to offer myself. Maybe there's something I'm going to do better than those who have tried and may have not been very successful.
Well, you're saying maybe.
Yeah, because I don't want to be the judge of myself. I can only say what I'm going to do. At the end, it's going to be the Nigerians. But I'm confident, given my precedents, given my past, given what I've been through, given my experience over this long time. I've tried it in different places I've had the opportunity to superintend, and I see that it's possible to wield this country together. It's possible to cause a rapid growth in the economic output of our nation. It's possible to reintegrate this country and make it a country that works for everybody. Today, this country is not working for all. It's working for a few. It works for me. but it's not working for my children and my grandchildren, and the youths are not, it's not working for most of them. So we don't want to stay in our comfort zone and say, well, we don't want to be indebted, let's leave it for some people called politicians. The country is owned by all of us. We're equal stakeholders. And just as much as you are worried, that's how I'm worried. But I've decided to step out from being just worried and commenting to say, hey guys, let's go together. Can we pool our resources together, get a crop of enlightened visionary leaders who are ready to sacrifice everything for the good of Nigeria, looking for nothing for themselves. Because at this time, there's nothing I, as Sam, want for myself. I am concerned with what's about our country. I travel every day. I mean, having worked in international companies, I'm always on the move. And each time I keep explaining, from way back, I keep explaining Nigeria. The world is waiting for Nigeria to happen, and Nigeria is not happening. And they're asking me as if I'm the one responsible. And I have answered and defended, and now I want to be able to take, let me take responsibility and see what will be the change. And I believe that will be change.
The point, of course, is that you haven't so far, we've just started the interview, told us what you're actually going to do to correct those problems. I mean, you've identified the problems, which is something that virtually everyone in Nigeria can do. They can tell you how difficult things are. But share with us a bit of the experience you've had, because you haven't really been in public office, you haven't really been in elected office. And therefore, people might say that you don't have the requisite experience. I mean, what will be your major selling point?
Most of the experience we have in Nigeria are miserable experience. I'm happy I didn't have those experiences because I would have been dirtied and bloodied. I would have, you know, in a country
you
where...
mean in politics?
In politics, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
In that
what makes you think it's going to be different in 2023?
The reason that I'm coming afresh, with fresh ideas, without having sucked the sap. You know, if you suck the sap from the root, decapitate the head, the sap will flow back. So I am coming with fresh ideas and fresh mandate.
Yeah, but it's not the ideas.
Yeah, I'm talking about the experience.
Right.
Okay. I'm talking about experience. The experience of governance is what is applicable in running industry, in running companies, in running businesses, in running associations. I've run associations, I've run businesses, I have been member of presidential advisory councils, member of boards, I've chaired boards, I've been party to many of them. So I understand how government operates, even though not being an active participant. I don't need to be an active participant to understand how government operates. I have written, I have surveyed, I've inquired as to what are the difficulties we've had in our nation. And people name different kinds of things. But for me, I believe that those are not insurmountable. Today, we have issue of poverty as the principal problem facing our country. Now, this poverty can be dealt with as we try to exit the current situation we have as a third world country perpetually, and to increase the level of productivity in the nation, get this country working. And it's not as complicated as it may look. The factors of production, the incentives for production, the attraction of investment, foreign local, turn our country into an investment heaven, make it investment attractive, have policy stability, have policy sequence that is sustainable, enthrone law and order so that things can be done in an orderly manner, enforce discipline, enforce the law. We have the police, we have the army, we have everyone that can enforce law. Why we're not enforcing them is what I don't understand. And I believe that with determination and putting the right people, getting the right incentive, people can act in some ways that will take us to where we want to be.
Right. Well, perhaps it's important then for you to try and understand the reasons why things don't work the way they ought to work. Because, I mean, if you don't understand it, you're going to get in there and it'll floor you completely. Because, I mean, in fairness to you, you're very articulate, very convincing. But I've heard other aspiring
Yes.
politicians
Yeah.
say things in a different, perhaps less articulate
Yes.
way. But, you know, they've said the same things.
Yes.
And some of them have got into office and not been able to make any change.
Yeah.
And been completely, I mean, dwarfed by the challenges
They're
they
overwhelmed.
face.
They're overwhelmed. It is a matter of approach and building on your experience and where you're coming from. To get things done, first you need competence, you need character, and you need courage. And my approach will not be a one-man upmanship approach. It's going to be a collective leadership, getting people who are sufficiently visionary, who understand what you know. Because the basic problem with our country, our inability to achieve much, is we have no uniting vision. You know, tell me what the vision of Nigeria. The average Nigerian doesn't know what our vision is.
I'm inclined to agree
and
with
his own
that.
role
Yes.
to achieving that vision.
There isn't a corporate vision
There's
that
not.
unites the whole country
Yes.
in that vision.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
everybody's doing his own bit, and there's no cohesion, no ability to harness all the resources we have in a cohesive way that will be productive and sustainable. So that is what I'm going to bring: organizational ability to harness. CEO's job is to hire the best people, competent, and who you can delegate responsibility to. We need a team, a crop of people. You know, when first you have the vision, and you're able to sell the vision, and let the vision be well understood, and let there be an adequate plan and strategy that defines that this is the role of the private sector, this is role of the public sector, this is role of the NGO, this is role of the market woman, this is role of the family, this is role of the student in achieving a particular vision. And then the work devolves. We set key performance indicators. Every quarter, we say we're going somewhere. Where are we this quarter? Where are we next quarter? Open ourselves to evaluation, by ourselves, peer pressure, external pressure. And that enables us to keep doing better. In this country, whether people are doing well or not doing well, there's no difference. Everybody gets promoted, everybody gets moving forward. That's a problem.
So you want to institute meritocracy.
Meritocracy in a balanced manner.
But that'll be politically explosive.
It's not going to be
Nigeria,
politically explosive. Let me tell you. Let's say today. I'm not trying to jump the gun. Let's say we said we're rotating presidency, and we want the Northeast to produce the president so as to have peace. We're arguing to ask the Northeast, please bring us your best 11. And you must set out the criteria. I've written a book here which I call Nigeria, Need for the Evolution of a New Nation. A chapter, they have 24 core competencies for leadership. Anybody who wants to aspire to leadership or leadership position will pass him through those. If he meets them, it's like hiring a CEO of a company and hiring directors and managers. That's what we don't have. We take all kinds of people and give them positions for mundane reasons. And then they can function. The CEO cannot do much on his own until he has competent people as subordinates. And then sets a mechanism whereby they understand what he wants them done. They are measured and they know the consequences of achievement, poor performance, underachievement, and overachievement. And when any of this thing happens, they see the results automatic. That's why our companies grow. That's how organizations grow. That's how nations grow. In this country, what I've seen is that there's not a system. You don't see meritocracy. You don't see, there's no defined system. It's just where everything seems to go. And that has been our worry. How do we reorder the system so that be a system that is going to allow people to operate? I was speaking about poverty a few moments ago, and I said that today many Nigerians are poor. Why? I'll give you a small example. Every Nigerian has a piece of property, a piece of land to his name, all over the world, all over the country, in the villages, in the towns, in the cities. And yet we are poor people. A piece of land is a very valuable, very valuable asset that can give you opportunity to borrow money from a bank, let it be microfinance bank or a deposit bank, whichever bank, development bank. Why would government not make it possible for us to survey as much of the lands as we have in this country and assign value to them and give each person a paper. And with this paper, you can access funding. That way, overnight, you can give people the opportunity to grow their businesses and walk away from poverty. It's just a policy issue. I've not asked any money is going to be spent. The private sector globally has funds to do every infrastructural development in our country. All we need to do is to show that we're a country of law-abiding people, a country that keeps sanctity of rules and laws and contracts, and that policies do not change at the flip of the coin. One commissioner goes, another commissioner comes, the law changes, the terms changes. A minister goes, another one comes, he says, I'm not the one who signed the contract. I have suffered, both international and local people have suffered. You beg government to help you do what government ought to be doing. Me as president, by the grace of God, if I'm offered that opportunity, I will make sure that every Nigerian is working.
Right, okay, well, let's those are some of the signature issues that I think that you've enumerated, and I assume will form part of your selling points.
Sure.
But what, you talked about a vision. Other politicians not having a vision, people would agree with that, but what political identity have you managed to carve out for yourself? What is your ideology, or does it not matter in the context of Nigerian politics?
My ideology is captured in our vision. We want to make Nigeria a first world nation where all the citizens of this country live in harmony, are treated equitably, and to achieve peace and prosperity in a country that works for all, a nation that works for all. Our primary objective is to get this country work for everybody. This country has worked for me. I'm sure it's worked for you, but it's not worked for so many people. And that is what is really pushing me, that we need to rearrange this country in a manner that it can work for everybody. And starting from the youth to the old persons, that they have opportunity to express themselves, not only by word, but to fulfill their dreams. Take away everything that is an inhibition in the way of people to growth. If I see you building a kiosk on the road and I'm government, I should stop and say, Charles, it's good you're building a kiosk, because building this kiosk, I know you're going to employ a carpenter, you're going to employ an electrician, and after it, you're going to put 2 or 3 people to man the shop. That is how economy is created. But in our system, I don't know your experience, but as a business person, the moment you start building kiosks, all the vultures will come around you, and they want to destroy you. Federal will come, state will come, local will come, area boys will come, whatever names they are. Everybody's trying to take you out. Sometimes somebody will meet you and say, this is not the right place to build kiosk, and then destroys your kiosk and say you can go to hell, no compensation. Charles, if we see a man trying to earn a living, trying to make a living, whether he's a vulcanizer, whether he's a mechanic, whatever he is, government should go and help him do better. When a guy finishes school and he has an idea, we need to have a small business authority or agency in every local government where a young graduate with a good idea can walk in and say, this is my idea. Some people review it, help him to build a business plan, help him to get funding, show him if he needed land. Government can give him land and then amortize the cost over time. Because the totality of the impact of governance is to help people fulfill their lives and enjoy quality life. And that opportunity exists, but everybody's on his own in this country. And even if we were just left alone, that would have been no issue. But there are things being done to repress you, to stop you from rising. So these are the kind of ideology we progress, an ideology that says, let us create a nation of happy and contented people. And happy and contented doesn't mean you have all the money, but the nation is treating you fairly. A man is killed unjustly, the nation rises. We said, why was this man killed? Somebody, an American citizen or so, was kidnapped recently in Niger State or somewhere. America sent troops, security to come and retrieve that guy, one man. They sent all kinds of things. Why can't we do it for Nigerians? People are dying and it's not our business. We wake up, we go, we eat and drink, we laugh, we organize events, and we ignore that the person who died could have been anything in this country. It could have been the guy who would develop what would have helped this country grow. So I want us to pay attention to individuals, human resources, human beings, restore their dignity. I didn't go to University of Nigeria, Nsukka, but their motto is to, I think, to restore the dignity of man. The dignity of Nigerians is gone. The Nigerian citizen has no right. He is repressed and suppressed. Those he has hired, called governors and ministers and presidents and what have you, chairman or local government, lord it over him. He writes a letter to them, they don't reply. He makes a complaint, nobody talks. If he raises his voice, they say it's a noise maker. If he says a little more, they arrest him and throw him into jail. People go and commit crime and they get away. Then the innocent are framed because they have nobody to bail them, they have no money to buy SAN, and they go to jail. And the jail is filled with poor people who have done just minor crime. No crime is bad, I mean good, but the issues are the big criminals are going around, they have the resources. And we can't continue that way because we're showing the wrong value to the young people.
Right. So it sounds like a very exciting message, but where will you position yourself in Nigeria's fractured politics? I mean, what party are you planning to run under, and has its kingmakers given the imprimatur to your ambition, or are you still a man without a political home?
Charles, I belong to a political party, personally. I've been to a political party since 1998 because I'm a responsible Nigerian who is interested in the well-being of the country.
Is that the BDP?
I don't know the name of the party, but I belong to a party. The time for campaigns will come, and I'll tell you my party.
Okay.
But for now, we are running a movement called the New Nigeria Group. And this movement,
tell us about that.
Yes, this whole idea is to get people to buy into this new vision. We are tired of the old Nigeria. We want to move to a new Nigeria, a first world, where we are going to have contented citizens living happily, where poverty is dealt with, where corruption is eschewed, where injustice is avoided, and where insecurity is dealt with. If we're able to put all that together, Nigerians know what they want now. You know, I agree there are principalities and so-called owners of parties, but the point is, with due regards to all of us, the end of those kind of politics is about now. Because Nigerians have seen this for years, and they tell them the same stories, and at the end they even come and deny that they didn't write manifesto, they didn't write anything, no promise kept, nobody asked a question, and if you ask them a question, they ignore you. Nigerians have seen this. At the elections, they collect money from people, they pay people money, they vote for them. Nigerians have seen them. Elections are rigged, results are written. We have seen change coming right away. When we saw the Edo election, we saw the Ondo election. I'm beginning to think that President Buhari wants to leave a legacy of living a good electoral system. That is what I'm beginning to see. And when that begins to happen, Nigerians will regain their sovereignty. They are the ones that will choose who should run in any platform the person chooses to run. So my point now is that that's not my focus. I will eventually get a platform, at the worst with the platform that I already belong to. But my interest is not just me. I want to be able to have a crop of Nigerians who can see the future, who can see hope. Because, you know, I've spoken to the young, the old, the elderly, and people tell me, Sam, we have given up on Nigeria. Many are, I'm not talking about those who are existing and going to look for work. Even those who live in this country have resigned the country to them. Who are them? I own one share of this country. You own, every Nigerian has a one share. This country is important to me as it is to you. Its salvation, its sustainability, its survival is important to me. I'm not going to franchise that to any godfathers or any owners of whatever names they are called. I'm going to contest it, and I believe that with the level of maturity and sophistication and understanding of political realities in our nation, I believe that we'll get to the point where the political leaders will look for a good candidate to present so that Nigerians can see that a new thing is coming. Nigerians don't want to hear the same stories. They want the same people recycled. That's what I can tell you.
In a sense, you're proposing fundamental reforms. I would presume you're an advocate of restructuring Nigeria.
Yeah, I am. I am, but that will not happen by fiat. Restructuring Nigeria will be a negotiated thing. And I believe that Nigerians want good. I have been to the southeast, I've been to the southwest, I've been to the northeast, north central. What they want is the same thing that I want. They want justice, equity, fair play, human dignity, ability to take care of themselves and their 4 children, 2 square meals a day, a public school that works, a public health system that works with insurance, something that can guarantee them the minimum. That's what Nigerians are looking for. And to be able to do that, part of the reason is to set the federation units, liberate them. I call liberation of the federation unit. You know, I was driving on the Onitsha Enugu highway last week, my wife and I, and we were weeping as we were dancing and jumping on the so-called express. Actually, we were on the old road that has become new. I think it's the state road. But somewhere they diverted us back to the new road. And I was weeping because I know the work on this road has started more than 15 years ago. Why would it be so? Go to Enugu Port Harcourt, the same. If we restructure this nation and devolve more power and more resources to the state, we ask Rivers State, build your own road between Rivers State to Abia Junction. Abia, build your own highway from there to Imo. Imo, build to Anambra, Enugu. In 2 years, the road is done. But 15 years, we're awarding one contractor, underfunding him. By the time he finishes 10 kilometers, the year is gone. The money is released mid-half of the year.
Okay, I must take a break, but I'll come straight back to you. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the presidential aspirant, current president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, and member of the country's Presidential Advisory Committee, Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview, where we speak to the newsmakers as well as ordinary people doing extraordinary things around the world and featuring the voices at the heart of the stories. I'm Charles Anyegolo. My guest today, Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, is an author, columnist, and president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, who is also a former chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group and is a member of this country's Presidential Advisory Committee. He's announced his ambition to run for president of Nigeria in 2023, and so he, like most of us, watched the inauguration of Joe Biden as the 46th president of the United States, presumably hoping to get some inspiration from seeing the wheels of democracy at work in one of the world's most enduring democracies. So how does he think the change in leadership in Washington is being seen here in Nigeria? And Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa is still with me here in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us. What did you make of that inauguration and the change of guard in the White House, particularly as it relates to Nigeria and Africa?
Well, first is that it was victory for democracy. It actually rebuilt confidence of many people in democracy, because we are beginning to worry that if America, which is the bastion of democracy, which is the poster boy for democracy in the world, could begin to act in the ways we saw the Outgone President act, we were worried that, are we sure we're in the right place? However, when democracy eventually showed that there are things that maintain the stability of a democratic nation, and those are the institutions. The American institutions showed up and were able to contain the excesses of a leader who had virtually run amok. And so I'm happy, and I'm sure most Nigerians are, about what has happened. The world is happy that we're returning to a country that shows leadership, and for which that leadership is supposed to cause unity of the nations of the world, to build peace as proposed by United Nations, rather than stoking war, stoking conflict, stoking disagreement and unhappiness, denying realities of present world. Say there's no climate issue, and denying that peace can be made between Iran and the rest of the world. I believe that every effort always requires peace building for us to enjoy this world which God has given to us. So I'm happy that Joe Biden has won, and it has been proven true and true, despite the very serious challenges. I'm happy that institutions withstood aggression and all the knocks that they got. I'm happy that this leader that we have in the US is going to repair America, because America was being damaged in different forms. I was saying, I'm not sure everyone will go take my holiday in America anymore, but I think that we've seen how a system can be shaken and how it can stand. And that's what we need to learn in Nigeria.
Right.
Nigeria, we don't have institutions. Our institutions are so weak and fragile and fickle. And so they are easily manipulated by strong men. You know, it's Nigeria in Africa. Strong men do what they want, and everybody kowtows. But America has shown that we can't get somebody run amok, but the system can keep him in check. And so we're happy.
Right. And Mr. Biden was a very vocal, very vigorous supporter of the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa many years ago. Does that make him a friend of Africa today?
I believe that he's a friend of Africa, not just by his say, but by his acts. I mean, look at the kind of people he's calling to his cabinet, including Nigerian Americans, black, diversity, Asians, Latin Americans. People are giving responsibility that were never given to people of color. For me, it's a new day. For the black man, it's a new day for the world. It's a new day for a peace-loving world, a world that believes that we have to live together. Nigeria has to learn to live together. God brought us from different ethnic backgrounds. There's a purpose, and that purpose is for my strength to be complement your weakness, and your weakness to complement my strength. That's the purpose of bringing diverse people, because everybody has strengths, weaknesses. And rather than emphasize that, we're emphasizing weaknesses and things that separate us. America was almost going back to that, where we're seeing white supremacy, where we're getting to some racist level that we thought had been history in America. We're being reminded that that existed. But again, that's the way of the world. Things do happen that out of turn, disruptions come. Trump was a disruptor, but I think the system is normalizing, and I believe that Joe Biden will heal America, because his mien, his character, his conduct, the words he speaks, shows that he is matured, fully matured, and understands the elements that will work to reunite America. And then America will take back its primary place in the scheme of things in the world, in the United Nations, in the World Health Organization, in all the places America has existed.
And talking about that maturity that would help to unify the country, and of course what you mentioned earlier, his apparent love for Africa. Do you think that informed his decision to choose the first black woman, Kamala Harris, as his vice president?
I think that he's an empathetic person. He understands the things that need to be done. He has high level of emotional intelligence. He understands that America was hurting, racism was coming back, and the black was being subjected to some treatment that was not what America thought they had arrived. And therefore he said, to heal this country, we need to bring all the groups together. The black, the white, the Asian, the brown. Let's build a nation, because that is the strength of America, which is why Nigeria is like America. If you look at the diversity and the origins, there are Germans in America like Trump. Trump is of German origin, and he was talking as if he was an original American. That's the good thing about America. You have people, and they bring their strengths.
Biden is Irish.
Biden is Irish. Yeah. So that's how so Nigeria is. Whether we came from Futajalon, or we came from Israel, or whatever they say each of us came from, God has brought us here, and he has a purpose for us to fulfill that purpose in this country and make this place a livable place, a place we can live for our children, a place that should not be worse than how we met it. Because that's always my mode. Anywhere I went, I did my best to ensure that that place was better, and that I would left legacies that younger people can emulate. Now it's becoming difficult to assure in our country over many years. So this is why we need to take a deep breath and say, guys, you know something, we need to refix these things. And what it requires is understanding what the issues are, having the ability to seek for the solutions to all the problems, readiness to buy, acquire, acquire those resources that will help you to achieve your objective. Because, Charles, those who know me know that there's no problem I have faced I haven't solved. And as a nation, there's no problem we are facing we can't solve if we are sincere and ready to bring to the table competent people. For every problem we have in this country, there are competent people who can solve them. The question is, do we look for them? If we find them, they will solve our problems, because that is the way every country operates. Seek good people to provide solutions.
Right. Now, you mentioned the WHO in the course of the statement you were making earlier about the United States rejoining these multilateral these institutions and so on. As a pharmacist yourself and someone in the medical profession, what do you think of Joe Biden's decision to reverse the Trump administration's decision to leave the WHO and his announcement that America intends to join COVAX, the program to share coronavirus vaccines with poorer countries?
You know, the world has a tendency to move in certain ways. And one way that has been sustainable from the First World War or Second and all the wars is that we are looking for peace and prosperity, because it is established that when peace and prosperity is shared, the quality of life is better. When we have peace and prosperity, we'll have the resources we can develop to looking for solutions to human problems. But if we are using the resources to fight wars and to destroy ourselves, then there'll be no money left to take care. So Joe Biden's rejoining and taking America back to international fora and organizations, bilateral and multilateral, is the way to go. Because truly, if we've allowed the system where America was becoming, America would have entered a pariah state. It would have been a state that isolated itself. And it will be overestimating their power if they think they can survive without the world. It's not going to work. So Biden understands the complementarity and the need for America to work with other nations, WHO and other organizations. First, to pool resources to provide solutions to humanity and human problems and global issues. Secondly, to make it easy to sell those solutions. And thirdly, to get easy to give access, greater access to human problems. That's why he's joining this opportunity where there can be a coalition of people who are working to solve this global pandemic, because it's not something you can solve individually. Okay, there is a place for individual activity, like in Nigeria, but at the end of the day, we need all of us need the vaccines, and we need the therapeutics, and most of this cannot be done by single. Most of the companies, look at Pfizer. Pfizer worked with BioNTech. AstraZeneca worked with Oxford. You know, so and these are those, you know their names. There are a lot of other people in the coalition to arrive at the moiety that we're seeing. So without that, America would just be reinventing the wheel.
Right. Okay. And of course, you have expressed your desire to run for president in Nigeria in 2023, and there seems to be a sense that the Trump era emboldened undemocratic tendencies in Africa. More countries have removed term limits from their constitutions, and some attributed that to the example set by Donald Trump. Do you agree with that? We've got about 2 minutes before we have to take a break.
I do, because I was listening to Paul and where he was interviewing Museveni the other day, and Museveni said he was quoting Trump, was showing how America was becoming undemocratic, and saying you shouldn't be criticizing us, criticize yourself. That shows we are about to learn bad lessons, especially those who already had the tendency to do what is not right. And then they saw a bad example and they were mimicking it. I'm glad that that stopped, because it will have caused more problems. Because African countries, some of them have gone beyond that. They have become totally democratic. They understand sovereignty resides with people, and understand that no man has exclusive knowledge. You play your part, you move on. Somebody else comes, Improves on what you have done, because that's the way the world is acting. Your children are taller than you are. They're looking fitter than you are. So will your grandchildren be. God has planned it for perfection, so that when we see him, we shall be like him, perfect. So that's the way the world goes. If you want to take people back, you are ruining the situation. And it cannot work. So this is the reason why it is important that Nigeria learns lessons from America, and Africa learns lessons from America, that we need strong institutions, we need to have independent electoral systems, we need to have systems that can stand shocks. And that's part of the things we should be doing along the way, so that should we have that kind of situation in our country, we will end up the way America has ended, where democracy will win, the institutions will win, and the strong man will find his way and go to Florida or go to Zamfara Forest or something.
I like that. Go to Mar-a-Lago, eh? Well, stay with us. It's really interesting talking with you. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the presidential aspirant, current president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria and member of this country's Presidential Advisory Committee, Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Enyekulu, and my guest today is Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, who is a renowned pharmacist, author, newspaper columnist, and current president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. He's also a former chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, the NESG. He's announced that he wants to run for president of Nigeria in 2023, ostensibly because he wants to tackle injustice, poverty, corruption, and insecurity head on. He says shifting power to the southeast, where he's from, would strengthen unity and economic inclusion in Nigeria and would stop the agitation for the region to break away from the rest of the country. It's also about justice and equity, he says, and making Nigeria work for all its citizens. Here he is, announcing his bid for the presidency.
The problem in Nigeria is that we have leaders who have no vision. Nobody's buying their vision. They have sold vision to nobody. And so nobody knows what we are going. We are reading their lips. When you properly sell your vision to your team and they buy in and they are motivated, and you give the right people the right job and give them KPIs, you measure them quarterly whether they are performing or meeting your expectations. You don't need to be on the road and running around as if you are doing a marathon. So age is not significant to me. And the reason why I'm at this is that I don't want to go and rest when the job is not done. I don't want to go and rest and see my country keep going down. I don't want to go and rest when I cannot predict the future of my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, that they can't take care of themselves. So I'm coming at this age with the skills and the experience that I have gathered, with the networks that I have built. So I'm going to utilize the skills and networks to bring competent people and bring investment in this country. And it will be for the benefit of our people.
And that's Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa there, announcing his desire to be, at least his ambition to be president of Nigeria. And Mazi Sam is still with me in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us. I'm told you are known for your sort of down-to-earth personality. And your ability to connect with people at all levels. Does that give you a political advantage in a country like Nigeria, or should your focus not be on your personality and more on your bank account?
Well, you know, God creates us and gives us different characters and talents and skills. I'm a people person, and that's why I have a large network of friends from primary to secondary. I'm also a man who has a heart for service. I'm always looking for how to solve problems. And you know, when you are the one who solves problems, they will put all the problem on your head. The way they find you're willing to carry the burden. That's why all the positions I've held were positions that were like trusted on you because you could carry the burden. And so I really have come from that background where problems need to be solved. And when problems need to be solved, You need people who are willing to solve the problem, who are not willing to be served, who are willing to serve. You know, there's something called a servant leadership. I think I have a natural proclivity to servant leadership. I like to serve. And what is more, to be sincere, I'm not pretentious. I am comfortable across ethnic boundaries. I'm comfortable across demographics. I'm comfortable across any racial color. I mean, when I went to Columbia University, the first time I arrived for a FASA management program, I was the youngest in the class and the only black. You know, for the first 2 weeks, I was very miserable. I would greet people and they would not even answer. But after 2 weeks, when they had me speak and, you know, deal with issues, take the case notes and dissect them and relate my personal experience, they found that I was like any of them.
Yeah.
And you won't believe that the same guys who couldn't greet me were standing in my door waiting for me to take them on some exercises. So I'm comfortable, first because I recognize human dignity. I know you can't be mean, but I have emotional intelligence to adjust myself to have a productive relationship with you. If it's important to me to achieve goals and you are part of it, I have to adjust my own relationship with you. Expecting to adjust mine will be if I was on the other side, where it's your own important, it's your own need to achieve. But if it's me to achieve, I'm going to get you in a mood that you work with me to achieve. After that, you can go your way, but we have accomplished. I'm task-oriented. But being task-oriented doesn't mean that I run roughshod over people. What I do is I let you know where we're going. I let you understand how long it will take us there. I let you know the sacrifices we need to make. And I ask you, are you willing to go? You say yes. Okay. I say, let me show you the resources we have. I provide the resources. This all right? It's okay. Let's go. And I move. And if you're not able to catch up, I leave you.
Sure. And when you came up with this, I presume it's an ambition you've nursed for some time, but
Yes.
you wanted the appropriate time to make that announcement. I mean, it's one thing to talk directly to Nigerians, which is the way it would normally be in the best of circumstances. But in the Nigerian context, it's quite important to build a coalition of other politicians. Did you do much consulting within the political world?
I'm doing so. It's ongoing. Right. I mean, like you were right, Charles. You know, your people say the thought that a man had before committing suicide is not a one-day thought. You must have thought over it many months, and if you are watching, you'll have seen the signs that this man is in trouble. But sometimes we ignore it. Now, I mean, seriously speaking, I've been struggling with. Like I told you, when I wrote this book 10 years ago, it was like my say, this is the way I like Nigeria to be. You guys take it, and I'm done. And yet, I wouldn't be done, because every other year, something else comes up that will get me back on the same team. So I've thought through it. And when eventually I came to a conviction, discussing with my God, I decided that I now need to begin to consult. And I've done it in concentric circles. I started from my nearest circle, and I'm moving further afield, because you have to start from known and unknown. And the charity starts home, but it mustn't finish at home. So I'm consulting, and I want to tell you the truth, is that I've had a very wonderful reception, both from non-politicians and politicians, because everybody, including President Buhari, everybody wants good for this country. And sometimes you are startled, why is this country not as good? And if somebody said, I can help make it good, you say, come, let's see whether we can work with you. Maybe you have the magic wand. Maybe you have the key to solve the problem. That's what I think when I've spoken to some of the political people who know I haven't been that partisan politician as such. They have had a good reception, and all they do is to point to where you're going, the potholes, the difficulties, the challenges, the nature of Nigeria. I said yes. You know, everything has an expiry date.
Right, and are you keying into this idea that is gaining some currency in Nigeria at the moment, that the presidency should move to the southeast?
Why would I not key to that? First, I'm a man that loves justice, equity, and fair play. And I have argued in this, my book, 10 years ago, that we need to be sure that we give a sense of belonging to every Nigerian group. And after we've done it, and we have achieved a level of sophistication, political understanding, when we have gotten a man like you, Charles, or anybody, or if God gives me the privilege, to be president, and I show that my being president does not discriminate against the Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, that everybody is on the table when we're sharing the goods, and that everybody gets a fair share, equitable share, like we do in board and corporate organizations. You get your dividend according to your equity. You get paid salary according to your input. You know, there's a relationship between input and output. And the moment see that the more you put, the more you get, they will come along with you. And at the end of the day, you might find that the divisions that you find in normal circumstances may be reduced. So I'm getting a very, very positive response. Yes.
And you obviously still have to, I think we mentioned this earlier, you still have to go through the process.
Yeah.
Which is the primaries and all of that before you emerge as a candidate with a realistic shot at the top job. If that fails, would that foreclose any future career in electoral politics for you?
Well, for me, I believe that this is an opportunity that I need to take. If God does not allow it, or Nigerians do not accept my offer and ready to make a sacrifice and carry the can, I'll reconsider depending on the circumstances at the time.
I mean, the reason I'm asking you...
One thing I will never do is to turn my back against Nigeria. I will never do it. This country has done well for me as a person. As a young man at age 39, I became CEO of Pfizer West Africa. And, you know, it's not, I went to school on scholarship, secondary, university. And in fact, when I was in university, I had 3 scholarships. I had to choose one. I left school, got employment 1 month after I left school, got a car loan 3 months, did my youth service, drove to start work in Pfizer. 3 months, Pfizer gave me a second car. So as a 3-year-old pharmacist, I had 2 cars in my garage. This country has done well for me. And I want the country to do well for my children and grandchildren. That's my concern. And that's why I've gone through advocacy. I've gone through all other methods of trying to make input. The drive now is to be on the driving seat. If it doesn't happen, I'll still play whatever other rules God allows me to. I will never turn my back against Nigeria. And this, my bid, is not a do or die. I'm not desperate because I have no personal point to make. I think that this country requires people who are willing to sacrifice to make it work. Okay. And I'm offering myself for that.
Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, who is the latest presidential aspirant, I want to thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Charles. It's been a pleasure.
That's it for this edition of the Arise interview. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye and thank you for watching.